the Orioles look like they're going to be in great shape for this one. As you take a look overall at the time by decade here, we're going to bring in a guy. He's still the youngest chicken in the coop for us here, but he has gone back and done his research on several decades of baseball. I think you played in a few of them, but you only played in the 90s, right? I mean, you're not that old.
That's right. 60s, 70s. I feel like I'm Elton John sometimes, best of the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. No, the game, it's funny. One of the great All-Star games I had a chance to pitch in was in Detroit in 1971, and there were 6 home runs, all by Hall of Famers. Vita Blue started that game. Reggie hit the transformer. 2 hours and 8 minutes. 2 hours and 8 minutes. So the game was quicker. You didn't have hitters wearing gloves, so they weren't adjusting the gloves. You had more complete games, maybe not in an all-star game. Not as much commercial time because we all know the game is about revenue, $11 billion industry. I'm actually happy they're doing it. I think as I kind of saw, I did something in the offseason. We had a pitch clock, but the Orioles, that T-shirt said throw strikes, pitch quickly, change speeds. So none of our guys took a whole lot of time.
You didn't at all. So if you've watched this over spring training, what have been your initial thoughts about how this is now operating? Because I've seen this since its infant stages, but of course there have been changes made to it. Yeah,
I'd like it. I really do. Fans want to come out and see baseball played. I like the shift rule because, if you're throwing a ball in between first and second at 106 miles per hour and it's an out, you probably make a good pitch. So it's going to be very interesting. One of the reasons I think the Orioles pitched so well last year is Ellie Rutschman comes, the target was in the middle of the plate. So the hard hit balls get caught, not only when they were hitting, but also when the other team was hitting. That may change this year. So we'll see how this adjusts. But games are going to be quicker. I won't have to talk as much, and Kevin Brown's probably going to be the star of the show. But then again, we want him to make Kevin very happy. And he'll get to do most of the talking this year.
See, I thought you were just taking over this for Kevin, and Kevin was going to chime in every now and then with a foul ball.
No, it's the other way around.
When you look at this, we've been through a lot the last several seasons, and nothing has really been normal. Hyde coming into a sophomore year. But not only is it a normal starting season, you've had a full spring. This is a competitive Orioles team. It seems like everything is very kismet right now, the way it's coming together. How's this opening day been different for you to watch Baltimore?
Well, I think I was talking to Dean Kramer down in the runway today, and I said, I don't know if I could have ever pitched at the level you did at early in spring. And he said, well, let's be honest. If you come to camp not in shape, you're probably not going to make the club. So it's a little bit easier to pitch at maybe at a higher ramped up ability early in the season. But all in all, I was kind of happy that you did have the WBC. So you had Mullins and you had Santander playing for Venezuela, who had a really good,
fantastic
time. But at the end of the day, Brandon Hyde got to see a lot of the young players, more so. And best farm system in baseball. You get to see a lot of those young guys. They acquitted themselves quite well. And over the course of this year and the next couple of years, you're going to see a lot of guys that we saw this spring make an impact in Oriole uniforms. I think the one guy, probably the biggest disappointment, and not that he pitched that poorly, was Grayson Rodriguez. I think if he'd been a little more consistent, second time through the lineup, he had some problems. So he'll go down. Everybody's saying it's because of, time, and now they don't start the clock and whatever. But he'll be back. And as Dean Kramer said, he will come back and he'll never leave.
He will never leave. We've got some exciting options that are still somehow building in the minors for the Orioles as they look to make this the best season in quite some time.